Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships, or shall I say, World of Spaceships. Sorry. Yeah, I had to get that out of my system because this is actually pretty freaking cool. Cool in a completely different way from the April Fools of 2 years ago with the bathtubs, but this is still pretty cool. Essentially this is what was established in the beta testing when they did this, and obviously they've updated it and it looks really freaking nice. I love space, the final frontier. So yes, this is the new game mode. It's fairly fun, it's fairly straightforward. There's nothing really that dramatically different about the battle that you engage in random and space battles. Not that big of a difference, honestly. Obviously, main thing is just going to be the skins and the map itself. The map itself is on a hotspot, and it is in space. So I mean, it's cool. I love it. It's a cool design. But anyways, these ships can be unlocked after you do a random battle in the class of each one. So carrier, destroyer, cruiser, and battleship. Once you win a random battle, you will unlock the ships of the type. Obviously, we have a few cruisers down here, a few destroyers, and a few battleships, and plus a CV. But I don't play CV that much, so I'm not really going to be unlocking that. Anyway, let's actually take a look at these different types of ship. First off, we have the gearing. Pretty much exactly like a gearing is. If you play these ships, you should have a general idea. One nice thing is they automatically will give you 19-point captains, so you can spec them the way you want them. However, if you do mess up, you do have to use the balloons to redo the captain skills, so try not to mess up because it's somewhat expensive. Alright, so gearing, then we do have the Z52. Switching over to cruisers, we have the Norma. And I also want to point out is the name of the guns. Zeus Blast, torpedoes, don't have a specific name, but the main guns actually have specific names. There's a lot of reference to different sci-fis in this game, which is really, really cool. Then we have the Galaxy, which is essentially the Des Moines. And it does have Cerebus secondaries, which is really cool. We have the Zaya, and I have to say, the Zaya as the Zao, or the Zao as the Zaya, looks freaking badass. Oh my god, I love this. I love the look of this Zao. I'm almost half tempted to get this as a permanent camouflage for my Zao. Almost tempted to it. But I do like the reference to Khan here. Get it? Okay, anyways, moving on, we have the Aurora, which is obviously, the Moskva. And you gotta like the Kremlin, the Chainsaw. We have Red Freedom as the captain. It's still really cool. It looks like a Moskva, it acts like a Moskva. And then moving on to the battleships themselves, we have the Pelis, which is obviously the Republic. Titan, Phoebe, Ray. Nothing too extraordinary as far as the names. But one thing to keep in mind as we finally take a look at the last battleship that is available is obviously the Kurfürst. Big old hunking Kurfürst. Now, as we look at the secondaries, this is actually a secondary build Kurfürst, or all-destroyer. Is the range of the guns 11.1. Now, the Paris is also 10.6. So you do have some of the major buffs that you would normally see, but when you look over here at the modules, at the upgrades, you only get one upgrade, and that is obviously the magazine modification 1. So these ships are essentially upgraded with the additional upgrades, which is beneficial because you don't have to spend money on getting those more expensive upgrades just to use them. They're automatically on the ship itself. One other thing is the consumables are in essence premium consumables one way or another, so you're not spending any money on premiums, which is very, very nice. So you don't have to worry about any of that. You get all the upgrades, all the premium consumables, so pretty much all you're spending on is just getting that demolition. The magazine modification 1. So that's all you're really spending on. You don't technically really have to go for it if you don't want. You can even get the upgrade for it. So you can pretty much just automatically take these ships out. They're still very powerful as they are. Once again, they're fully upgraded and they're fun. But for the most part, not much difference as far as the actual gameplay. There are slight differences as far as like storms, as hazards. And that map's a little bit different, but that's pretty much it. And that's gonna be pretty much everything in port. There is also a CV, is essentially the midway, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I actually have seen only one CV. CV is not very popular in this game mode, but it does show up every now and then. It actually probably could be the Hakaym, because I think it had 3 torpedo planes. Correct me if I'm wrong, I might be wrong on this. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and jump into a battle, so I will see you guys there. So, as you can see, I decided to take the Norma out. And this map, honestly, is a map everyone should be familiar with. It's called Medium Range Galaxy, but if you look at the bottom right-hand side, it is essentially a hotspot. I will have to say, while playing this game mode, which is still really cool, I think it's a great idea, I think it looks beautiful, it definitely is very difficult. Can be difficult due to the fact that it's a little bit more difficult to actually aim, but I think given enough practice, you can do decently well. There are a few other factors. As you can see on the minimap down below, there is a blob coming in. This is actually a storm, and it is a meteor shower. This meteor shower is going to destroy any fighter crafts that stray within it. Over time, it loses, I think, a aircraft per 15 seconds, something like that. So yes, extraordinarily dangerous for any carrier that decides to bring its aircraft, but it's also extremely beneficial for you as well, because it does protect you from enemy aircrafts. So I am obviously taking out the Norma, playing the Minotaur. It's essentially the Minotaur. The ships themselves aren't any different from their normal counterparts. You can definitely rack up the damage, especially if it's a ship you're well accustomed to. You should do fine. Now, the map itself is a little bit different than, say, what you would normally expect from Hotspot. The islands are a little bit different. They are either a little bit taller, and unfortunately I just came around the corner to a Zaya and essentially a Republic. Actually, no, sorry. Yeah, Republic. So definitely not the best time, and unfortunately we are being raided by the enemy Aurora, which is essentially the Mosfa. So my best option right now is just try to keep myself bowed in as much as possible and hope that the Republic won't be able to citadel me too easily. So yeah, things are going a little nerve-wracking at the moment, but here you can actually see that that island that is actually normally not that tall is actually quite a bit taller. But as far as gameplay, it is usually always, actually it is always domination, but the modes will actually change, the capture points will actually change. It will usually have this normal setup that you see here, or it will have the rank slash clan battle setup that you sometimes see. So yeah, as long as you have a general idea of how rank and clan, you should do fine no matter what. Alright, so things are looking a bit interesting, and trust me, this game is actually pretty good. It's actually one of the more better ones I've had. Now I will have to say, I've taken out the Paris a few times and I've had issues with her. I don't know if it's just me or just the fact that it is more difficult to actually aim in this mode, just due to the fact that there's no water. There's nothing that really kind of separates the ship apart. I don't know, it's really hard to describe. You just almost would have to play it to actually understand what I'm saying. But the music is nice, the sound effects are nice. I really do enjoy the music and also the sound effects. But I just wish they would change just a few minor things, like for example, instead of having us going 30 knots, I mean, just change the numbers. I mean, just change the value of the numbers. Just make it seem a little bit more ludicrous, I guess you could say. Alright, so torpedoes, I will have to say torpedoes are somewhat difficult to actually realize they're actually going out. But then again, it is space and there will actually be no wake of torpedoes as it goes out. But here we should get a kill. There we go, very nice. Got the kill on the enemy Zaya. And keep in mind, those torpedoes are still on their way, but fortunately we are safe from the enemy Paris. And just got to be careful. Now the storm is directly overhead. As you can see, it does alert you that there is a meteor shower going on, and we're actually coming around this corner, being a pesky little minotaur, just like I always like being. So torpedoes are actually on their way towards a Paris. Should possibly get a torpid. Nice. Doing a really good job there. Let's see, additional torpedoes just in case. And let's see if we can get another kill. Now there is actually in fact another storm, as obviously there's a meteor shower. There's an electrical storm. What this does is it actually reduces the fire duration by down to 1 second. So fire doesn't stick for that long, but the downside of that is you can't heal up that fire damage. Even though it lasts for a second, you can't heal it up. So that's the only downside, but then again, it only lasts for a second. So, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. Alright, I probably should have also mentioned this, and I do apologize, No Game, but I am actually joined with a clanmate of mine, No Game, in the Zaya. He's actually the one way up north there. And can I say, these graphics, like you can see Jupiter, I'm assuming that's supposed to be Mars, Saturn, and some random... I know more than likely it's probably not supposed to be, but that has a great red spot on Jupiter. So, yeah. And also, there are secret Easter eggs throughout the map. There is obviously a nice big UFO that they showed in one of the upload videos for the essential April Fool's joke. There's also a little rover, although I can't really point him out. It's right below where the marker is as we're harassing this Paris. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Easter eggs. I think this game's really inventive, and this game mode was actually out for the beta testers right before the game obviously came out, so no one really got to play this except for those beta testers. And now they're bringing it out. Now, what's really surprising is what ships are available. I'm really, you know, slightly annoyed that they didn't actually bring in the Yamato for this mode, especially considering there is a full fleshed anime for it. Alright, so game's going really well. We've actually earned kill number 4, and we have an enemy essentially at her first. That is sitting broadside, just kind of hiding there by the island, not really doing anything. And here, this is probably where I really do want to point out the fact that it is difficult to actually tell which way the ship is going. Because you are, as you can see there, I'm actually missing. I actually have to look at my minimap just to realize how he's actually traveling. So it is difficult. It does take a little bit of time. There is a slight wake, but for the most part, you can see all the way down to the, I think it's keel of the ship. So definitely more difficult to actually land your shells. But there we go, Kraken. Even though we don't actually get Kraken, and this game mode's essentially over. So as far as kind of thoughts on it, I think it's cool. I mean, I love space games. I am a big sci-fi fan, and having these warships essentially battling it out in space, I think it's really cool. So definitely go try it. I I'm pretty certain it's going to be up for several weeks before the next patch comes out. Obviously, it's going to go away in the next patch. So you have plenty of time to actually play this game mode. It is fun. It is probably going to be a little bit shorter than most battles. But if you have a good team, you can generally steamroll. And you can always have those very exciting games, which is always fun to play. But anyways, this is going to be it for this episode of World of Warships. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Side Gen.